What's going on, guys? This is Rob, and welcome back to the Rumor Roundup, our weekly series where we cover all the news and rumors that you may have missed over the course of the week. And this is a special episode because we've got like 4 days. Let's see, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days until Spider-Man No Way Home comes out. Although, if you are going to see it on like the midnight showing release day, I think you're seeing it on Wednesday. I think we're seeing it on Wednesday, on the 16th. Regardless, we're gonna cover all the news and rumors, or at least all the really good ones anyway, regarding Spider-Man No Way Home, so you can kind of put it all together and then get a better idea of what to expect by the time the movie comes out. So let's start with the stuff we hate, the debunked rumors, the ones that we know are not true. And let's kick things off here with the rumor that Kirsten Dunst is going to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this rumor circulated because there was a picture that featured Kirsten Dunst and Deborah Ann Woll walking on what appeared to be the set of Spider-Man No Way Home, and it circulated around pretty fast. I'm sure a lot of you guys recall that the people were like, oh my God, they're gonna be in the movie. And so Kirsten Dunst had an interview with Total Film where she was like, no, I'm not appearing in Spider-Man No Way Home. And she even kind of made a little bit of a joke about it, right? She basically like, I'd be like old MJ with like little kids and Spider-Man and stuff like that, right? So, I mean, it's kind of cool, but at that instance, at that point in time, people sort of took it with a grain of salt. And the reason why is because with something like Andrew Garfield, for example, we all pretty much believe he's going to appear in that movie, and it's all but been confirmed. However, Andrew Garfield has stood fast in saying he's not going to show up in that film. There's been other instances in the past when that's been the case, right? Like the Loki TV show and Jonathan Majors coming out and saying, no, I'm not appearing in the Loki TV show. I don't know why people keep asking me that. And then he shows up in the end as a Mortis, which took everybody by surprise. So you can't necessarily take what actors say as an absolute truth because they obviously can't spoil the film itself. However, this confirmation that Kirsten Dunst is not going to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home seemed to come by way of Daniel RPK, who, as most of you guys know, we use as a primary source for a lot of our information because he's almost always right. And he basically came out and said, no, like Kirsten Dunst is not going to be in that same film. That leads us into our next debunked rumor, which is Deborah Ann Woll was supposed to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, for those of you guys who don't know who she is, she played Karen Page in the Daredevil series. Now, as much as I love the character of Karen Page, if we're all being honest with ourselves, while it would have been cool to see Deborah Ann Woll in Spider-Man No Way Home, I think most people were excited about that prospect because with Karen Page comes Daredevil. And so having her in the film would mean Daredevil was virtually guaranteed, and we would basically see him in the movie if she was going to be in the film. However, she also came out recently, and so did Daniel RPK, in saying Deborah Ann Woll is not going to be in this film. So a little bit of a letdown for those of you guys who are Karen Page fans. Now, following this goes into what is a pretty interesting, if not a little weird of a rumor, which was that Emma Stone was gonna show back up as Gwen Stacy in Spider-Man No Way Home. I mean, what role is she gonna play? She died in Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, like Amazing Spider-Man 2. She died. So unless Mephisto seized control of her body and started like parading her around in front of Andrew Garfield, like, hey, Andrew Garfield, look, I died and you couldn't save me. Unless something like that happens, I don't really see her having any kind of a role in this film. If we did end up seeing Emma Stone, which in all honesty, I think we probably will, it won't be her, which is like Andrew Garfield and her in some kind of a scene. It'll be a flashback. So likely it'll just be scenes from Amazing Spider-Man 2 when she died. That's when you will basically end up seeing her, right? Because if Andrew Garfield really is in this movie, and we know Tobey Maguire is gonna be in this movie, that Andrew and Tobey and Tom Holland will likely have some kind of a powwow where like they tell their stories about how they struggled and all that kind of stuff, and the failures over their careers and so on and so forth, which we all wanna see, right? We wanna see these guys just kind of hang out and basically talk to each other for a little while. That Andrew Garfield will likely talk about the biggest failure of his career, which was the death of Emma Stone's Gwen Stacy. And so you'll likely see flashbacks to that whole encounter when she basically ended up dying when she was falling from the bell tower. So again, that's probably the extent that we're going to see of her character. But again, for the most part, it's kind of been confirmed she's not going to be there. Now, the last rumor, and I don't even know where this came from, right? I don't even know where this rumor came from. Supposedly, Harry Holland was supposed to play Ben Reilly in Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't know how this gained popularity. I don't know why it gained, well, I know why it gained popularity. Ben Reilly is a clone of Peter Parker, but like, it's way too soon to do something like that in Spider-Man, right? To basically start like introducing the clone saga. It's way too early for that kind of a thing. Like, we don't have Miles Warren, right? There's no Jackal. There's no reason to start bringing in clones, right? I mean, it's way too early for that whole thing. So that's probably something that is totally untrue. I mean, I don't know if there's really been anything per se to say that it's not true, but it just seems so ridiculous, at least to do it in this film, it might as well not be true. However, that brings us into our unconfirmed rumors, which are basically rumors that no one's bothered to say are true or not true. I guess we could do confirmed rumors, but that just sounds like watch time farming. Like, hey guys, Doctor Strange is supposed to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. So that's a confirmed rumor, right? Wong's gonna be in the movie. That's confirmed. You know, Tom Holland is gonna play Spider-Man. You know, MJ's gonna return and Jacob Batalon's gonna be there. Confirmed rumors. I mean, there's no point in running over confirmed rumors. We already know they're true. However, this first one is a cool one. So the unconfirmed rumor is that Matt Murdock will appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. I don't know if that's true or not, but I really hope it is. If I'm being honest with you guys, if that was going to be the case, he would probably appear pretty early on, and his role would be a small one, right? I can't imagine like Daredevil jumping in the middle of everything and like fighting the Sinister Six alongside all three Spider-Man. It'd be cool. It'd be really cool. But we don't know if Matt Murdock is going to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. The closest we've gotten to this is Kevin Feige coming out and saying, yes, Matt Murdock is going to appear in the Marvel Cinematic Universe and Charlie Cox will play the character. That's all we've gotten, right? So this is basically an unconfirmed rumor where it's not really being said one way or the other. Like, Feige and them have not come out and said, no, Matt Murdock is not going to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. But they haven't come out and said he is going to appear in Spider-Man No Way Home. So it can kind of go one way or the other. I think most all of us can agree we want to see him in Spider-Man No Way Home. So again, it's just one of those unconfirmed things. Now, the next rumor that we have is one that we've talked about before, and you guys had very varying opinions on it, which is that Lil Nas X was going to be playing Miles Morales. Now, this ties into another rumor, which is a pretty important one, that Miles Morales will be name dropped in Spider-Man No Way Home. And it kind of makes sense, right? We know that like Donald Glover played Uncle Aaron in Spider-Man Homecoming, Uncle Aaron being the uncle of Miles Morales, that he made reference to his nephew. That was not necessarily a guarantee because the Marvel Cinematic Universe changes things all the time. So just because things were a certain way in the comics does not mean they were going to be that way in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but we hadn't necessarily heard anything that even debunked it, right? It was just like, I have a nephew. And anybody who was familiar with the character of Uncle Aaron and Miles Morales immediately picked up on that, right? We're like, oh my God, it's Miles Morales. But it looks like in Spider-Man No Way Home, Miles will be name dropped. Now, the other thing about this is apparently he will not be seen. We will not actually see what Miles Morales looks like. And so again, that goes into the rumor that Lil Nas X is the one playing Miles Morales. Now, apparently Lil Nas X, he tweeted out this image where he was hanging out with Tom Holland and Andrew Garfield, and he was like, the rumors are true, I'm gonna be playing Miles Morales. What rumors? I have not heard any rumors, right? I mean, what is it like Umbrella Academy? Like, I heard a rumor that Lil Nas X was gonna be playing Miles Morales. Like, I don't know if that's, I hadn't heard anything that was gonna be the case. However, he tweeted a picture out with the two of them and said, yes, I'm gonna be playing Miles Morales. Now, again, the response to this, I wouldn't really say is one of like vitriol. It's one of people who were just like, not a chance. Or people who were just like, I could see that. It seems to kind of go either way. Honestly, I don't know. I mean, I'm not too picky about who plays Miles Morales, so long as we get him. I would prefer the person they bring in to play the character does match the ethnicities of Miles Morales, in the sense that Miles is half black, half Puerto Rican. So I would love to see that. I'd love to see that kind of element brought together so the actor that plays the character actually reflects the ethnicities of the character. But by and large, I just want to see Miles. So even just getting him name dropped here would be a pretty amazing thing. Now, beyond that, I'm not aware of any rumors in terms of how he gains powers, if he gains powers, if it'll happen anytime soon, any post-credit scenes, or anything along those lines. But regardless, the next rumor that we have here is that Tom Hardy will appear as Venom in Spider-Man No Way Home. Now, this is a bit of a murky thing, right? This is a bit of a murky rumor here. And the reason why is because we know that Venom is in the Marvel Cinematic Universe now. We know that because of the ending of Venom 2, that he was yanked in to the MCU. And in all honesty, if you really read between the lines and you really look at the ending of Venom 2, and then you look at the trailers for what's going on with Spider-Man No Way Home, Venom 2 basically gave us the answer to why all the villains are there. But the important thing here is that Tom Hardy is supposed to appear in this film. In what capacity? I don't know. In all honesty, I don't see Peter getting the Venom symbiote in this movie, largely because of the fact that like Andy Serkis, the director of Venom, came out recently and said, hey, look, if Venom and Spider-Man are going to meet, it's not going to be some kind of quick one-off event that happens at the tail end of the trilogy of Spider-Man movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's gonna be a thing, right? It's gonna be like a big thing. The whole movie is going to be based around Spider-Man and Venom meeting each other, and rightfully so, right? Because it's one of the most anticipated things to happen with the character in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Spider-Man getting the Venom symbiote. Having said that, there are rumors circulating around on the post-credit scenes of Spider-Man No Way Home, which is that for whatever reason, however things end up working out, that Venom will be sent back to his own universe, but a piece of the symbiote will remain behind. And that will basically set up the next Spider-Man trilogy, which is where Peter ends up bonding to the Venom symbiote. And that unfolds however it is that it unfolds. As far as I'm aware, we're a few years out from the beginnings of the next Spider-Man trilogy, right? Like we're a few years out from just that first movie and that new set of 3 movies. So there's a lot of stuff that can happen between now and then. And as most of you guys know, when it comes to the post-credit scenes involving movies, they usually tie into what's going on at the time in terms of how the character will fit into it all, especially if what's going on in that individual character or team's movie does not pertain to the larger overarching theme, right? So I could definitely see some kind of a post-credit scene that may involve Venom, but might most likely involve something akin to like Doctor Strange 2 that ties into what's going to be going on in that movie. Now, there are a couple other rumors, I guess maybe honorable mentions that are worth bringing up. Paul Giamatti is supposed to return as Rhino. Cool, I guess. And then also MJ is supposed to be saved by like Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man in that scene when like she's falling from the, I guess, big construction site basically. And it looks like she's going to fall to her death, pretty much in the exact same way that like Gwen Stacy did in the comics and the way she did in Andrew Garfield's universe. And that basically Andrew Garfield saving MJ is gonna be him kind of redeeming himself and basically kind of fixing the mistake that he made before where he can finally get to her in time and basically save her life. I wouldn't be surprised if like she's an instant from hitting the ground when he saves her, kind of building up that suspense again. We don't necessarily know if that's the case, but some of the biggest rumors / leaks pertaining to this film, which are huge, circle around the Green Goblin. So we know that Willem Dafoe is going to appear as the Green Goblin in Spider-Man No Way Home, right? We know that from the trailers. We know that from just the villain interviews and all that kind of stuff. We know that's going to happen. One of the other big rumors circulating around is that Dane DeHaan is gonna show back up in this movie as a second Green Goblin, so that we're supposedly gonna be getting 2. Now, I don't know if that's the case. What we have when it comes to the trailers and whatnot is you've got the classic Green Goblin as Willem Dafoe appeared in Sam Raimi's Spider-Man 1. And then you've got what looks like a more updated depiction of Green Goblin as it's potentially being portrayed by Dane DeHaan. If I'm being honest with you guys, I don't really think that's the case. I think it's more just Willem Dafoe's updated look, in the same way that Dr. Octopus gets an updated look and Electro gets an updated look. Lizard doesn't really get one because he's just a giant lizard, right? How do you update the look of the lizard, right? I mean, it's a guy who turns into a lizard man. Sandman's the exact same way, right? He's just a giant sand guy. I mean, I don't know how you really update the technology of those individual characters, but it looks to me like it's just Willem Dafoe as a Green Goblin. Having said that, it is possible Dane DeHaan could appear. So I wouldn't write that off completely. Again, this is unconfirmed. No one said it's not true, and no one said it is true. By and large, it's just one of those things that could potentially happen. But another big rumor here, and this is one that's been circulating around for a long, long time, is that MJ, while it does look like she's going to be saved by Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man, that basically keeps her from the jaws of death. Aunt May will not be so fortunate. That the rumors and leaks are suggesting Aunt May will die in Spider-Man No Way Home. And that will basically leave Peter Parker with his biggest failure, which is that he couldn't save Aunt May's life. Now, this is particularly important. And the reason why is because, as far as I'm aware, we still don't know what happened with Uncle Ben. We know Uncle Ben died, but we don't know if Uncle Ben died as a result of Peter's negligence, that he could have stopped a criminal and instead he didn't. And because that criminal escaped, that criminal in turn killed Uncle Ben. And so Peter had to basically deal with that fallout that, as far as we're aware, with the Uncle Ben role in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, he's a guy that helped to take care of Peter, and Peter really, really loved him, but there doesn't really seem to be that kind of gravitas that, like, I don't want a situation like Uncle Ben to happen again. And so if Aunt May died, the death of Aunt May would basically replace the death of Uncle Ben in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in terms of the significance and the gravity involving the character of Spider-Man. It kind of makes sense there. Again, this is all unconfirmed stuff. We don't know if any of this is true or false. It's just things that potentially may happen over the course of this movie. At the end of the day, we won't necessarily know until the movie comes out or until somebody comes out and like debunks all this stuff. So let me know what you guys think about these things down in the comments section. Do you guys believe they're true? Do you believe they're false? Did we get something wrong? Let us know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching, and we will catch you all later. Peace.